Are markets setting up for the big collapse? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, December the 17th. And of course, next week is Christmas and the year is winding down. And of course, as far as I'm concerned and other traders, the year is over for trading. But we do have some interesting dynamics happening in the markets. And the big question is, are they setting up for the big collapse? And we'll get more into that when we get to the market report. But other than that, there's many other things to talk about. And of course, our wonderful president who flies around in his own Air Force One, which is, again, any president does. And I'm not complaining that he flies around in his Air Force One. But now he wants all federal employees to use EVs or trains on official travel. I don't see you using an EV or a train on official travel. Are you going to get rid of your Corvette? And of course, you have trouble getting into it, but you're going to have to get rid of the Corvette that burns fossil fuels. It is interesting and amazing how we continue to beat the same stupid drum when every major country in the world has dropped out of the climate accord. But of course, we've got all kinds of things of concern. Costco in the last quarter sold over $100 million worth of gold bars. Now, they ain't selling those for Christmas gifts. They're selling those because people are starting to get a little bit nervous about the overall economy, about what's going on. And look, as you all know, if you've listened before, you know I am a big fan of gold and silver and the precious metals as a part of your portfolio. But I think to me that's probably for Costco to sell $100 million, it may be a little bit excessive. And of course, now the talk is, can government ban Bitcoin? And the answer is, well, they might try, but this will be the difference of where a true free market will come into play. If they try to ban it, I don't think they'll be able to. I think there'll still be people using it. I think you've seen this happen in many countries. They can try to restrict it because, let's face it, the government doesn't want the ability you have a free currency that cannot be manipulated by the Federal Reserve, that cannot be manipulated by the government, and actually is allowed to trade freely. As we know, the fiat currency system is the most corrupt system in the world because, of course, there is nothing backing the dollar. There is nothing backing it. And again, if you go back as far in history, you will notice when the dollars, switched from currency to Federal Reserve notes, which means it's just a loan. We really have a dramatic mess in this country, and it's only getting worse. And again, this is not a Republican or Democrat thing. This is a political thing, which only goes back to that we should not allow career politicians, and we should have term limits. That's something for another day. The Fed speak on Jerome Powell. Listen, we know it's all a bunch of bullshit. There is no way they're cutting rates. And this huge market rally based on that is just silly. But again, you can't tell people what to do. And of course, these excessive moves happen. The Fed is full of shit. The Fed is clueless. The Fed should be ended or at least audited. But of course, we'll never get to that point because it's all part of the criminal conspiracy known as Washington, D.C. and the political lobbyists and the rest of the criminals. Again, whether you be a left or a right, it doesn't really matter. You're dealing with the criminal element of the government. They're talking about trying to fix the FDIC. Why wouldn't they fix the way that banks are run? Why do we let banks turn liabilities into assets so they can lend out more money? Why do we allow the banks to over leverage themselves? again, there's so many laws and rules that should be changed. We wouldn't have the same concerns that we have today if we would actually force the government and banks to operate like normal people, like you and me, who have to watch our budgets, who can't get too far in debt because you have delinquency are at the highest level they've ever been for credit cards and auto loans. And it soon could get much worse. And I do believe that it will get much worse as we go forward. Okay, because again, you cannot borrow your way out of debt. You cannot continue as the government does to try to borrow and fix a problem that isn't there. And now President Biden wants to start to put penalties on these drug companies, saying that they're gouging for prices. Well, let me ask you a question. Who gouges more? Government and taxes or companies? Remember, we are in a free market system, and I am not saying that that drug companies don't take a little bit of advantage here and there. But who started the shit battle? Did the insurance company start it, and then the drug company tried to keep up? Or did the doctors start it, and the insurance companies and the drug company tried to keep up? Let's face it, no matter who started it, and no matter who put us in this position, we all, the middle class, you and me, the citizens, get screwed. Now, I'm not worried about what the drug companies charge. I'm worried about what the insurance company charges me for insurance, because Biden care or Obamacare is shit. And I would never want that, because if the senators and the Congress people don't want Obamacare, why would I? It doesn't make sense. If the lawmakers that made the law don't want it, why would I want it? So, we've had a very dramatic part, a lot of hate going on in this country. And of course, there's a big boycott going on in Harvard. Their applications have plunged 17% as the hate on the leftist campus, who continue to hate the Jews and continue to support Palestine, including the Vice President, Kamala Harris, who happens to be married to a Jewish fella. It's kind of interesting that we kowtow to those who cause the most grief and who were very much involved in the terrorist attacks on 9/11. But yet here we are, 22 years later, kissing their ass and abusing one of our number one allies in this world. I just don't quite understand how Americans can be so fucking dumb when they deal with this shit. It is really ridiculous that we can see this much demonstration defending a group of people that are known for bombing and for terrorist attacks and for no regard for human life. And certainly they did not care about citizens and civilians during the 9/11 bombings, nor any other of the bombings that they have created. So again, you can take it and shove it. And of course, all of you ridiculous protesters can shove it up your ass as well. And why don't you move there and go be part of it if you want to be such a pain in the ass protester. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, December the 17th. And of course, we're going to stop by for a break and come back with our market report right after the break. What's up, kids? Well, I hope you're having a great Christmas season. I hope you're having a great time and enjoying these rallies in markets and time with your family. In the meantime, always want to talk about our sponsors and, of course, our brokerage partners that we use. And again, I have many brokers, but I do like to share with you who I vetted, who I use myself, and who I think give you the best value. And of course, one is Capital Trading Group, who is partners with us on Day Trader's Dream and other things. And of course, they do all of our letter of direction trading. But I think it's always great to have someone that you can rely on, someone who'll take good care of you and give you the best customer service, which also ties to Trader Brokerage. They are terrific at what they do. They're $10 a month, so they save me about $100,000 a year. They can use our software and automate a lot of your trading, which is great. And of course, You can check out their websites on the side here. In the meantime, don't forget about our high school program, which is down at the bottom, which we're getting back and restarted here now. So we're gonna make a big push right after the first of the year. And welcome to one of our new sponsors, Well Charts, who is going to be a new sponsor for us, and we're going to get more involved with Well Charts as well. So we're excited about that. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and we'll go through our market report. Welcome back. What's going on? And here it is, of course, Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, December the 17th, and of course, we always do our market report, and wow, markets have been unbelievable. Unbelievably strong. What can I tell you? They've been going straight up, and of course, if you're a true chartist, you can look at the NASDAQ and the S&P over on a weekly chart over the last couple of years. You'll see what they would call a cup and handle pattern forming. But are we setting ourselves up for major disappointment? And look, first of all, we're long across the board, so that I'm not going to apologize for. We're long. We've been long, and you know that because I tell you every day. But I do think that we are setting ourselves up for one major collapse. I think we're setting ourselves up for one major beatdown. This is very typical action that we see before the end. And again, I'm not predicting when it's going to happen. I'm not telling you not to keep buying. There's no reason to fight the tape. There's no reason to fight the market. I'm just saying that it's a little bit too explosive under some pretty crappy economic times. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, all four major indices flew higher last week, and we're long all four, so can't complain about that. The dollar was higher. The dollar was actually lower for the week, but higher on Friday. But we would be short the dollar, although we no longer trade it. The euro currency was higher for the week, and of course, we're still long the euro currency. Bitcoin is higher and continues to try to push to the moon. We are still long Bitcoin, and of course, in the bonds and notes, they continue to fly higher in saying that they believe that interest rates are going to fall and there's going to be cuts. We'll see. I don't believe that, but again, I am long bonds and notes, as you know. I do not fade what I do. I just think that maybe you ought to think about it. But I don't think rates are coming down. I think rates are going higher. Again, I think this is something that we have to remember. And of course, gold, we are still short. Silver, we are still long. And of course, platinum, which we don't trade anymore, but we would be long platinum if we did trade it. In the grain markets, we're long wheat and we're long soybeans, and we are short corn. They're all pretty much stable and flat. There's really not much going on. It's hard to get too excited one way or the other in the grain markets. I think we've got issues to deal with, and I think that once we get past the first of the year or whatever, and we can see some volume show back up in these markets, I think that maybe we will see some true opportunities. But it's really hard to get overly excited with the lack of activity and the lack of business right now. In the meantime, in the meats, cattle is, again, continues to rally and then sell lower. We would expect, we don't trade it anymore, but I am short cattle and will continue to be so. Looking for another 10, 12% to the downside. Hogs, we would be long, and I'm looking for continuation moving the hog markets to the upside because, of course, people can't afford to buy steak too much. So we'll see what that looks like. But and as we look at the natural gas is lower. We are still short. Crude oil has been moderating, and again, it's telling you how weak the economy, and we are still short crude. In the softs, cocoa, we're still long. Sugar, we're short. OJ, we're short. Coffee, we're long. And cotton, we would be short. At the end of the day, look, there's a lot of bad things going on, and some of this will resolve. I think there'll be some money flowing into the commodities once the equity starts to maybe give some pressure. But again, right now, we cannot count on that, nor are we going to suspect or predict, okay? Remember, the markets are what they are. They will run as they do. I see reasons to be concerned, but certainly would not try to jump early to be first. It would be simply waiting back and looking to set myself up later. And in fact, at Bubba Palooza this week, I said I would expect to see something potentially in the first week of January, but we'll see. I'm not going to make any changes. I am long. That's the way we stand. And we're going to step out here for a break. Be back with Bubba's Bottom Line right after the break and with my market commentary. Well, kids, just a quick reminder. Trader Brokerage, awesome. Check them out on the sides. Capital Trading Group, check them on the side. On the bottom, our high school program, and of course, our brand new sponsor, Wealth Charts. Check them out. It's something that we always want to share with you what is best for you. And again, these are things that I've vetted, and I think that it can help you in the future. In the meantime, let's get that back to Bubba's Bottom Line with, of course, my commentary and, of course, a couple of football selections. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 17th of December, a week from Christmas, and geez, years flying by. And I think that this needs to be said. Isn't it wonderful that our First Lady of the First Moron hires a dance crew for Christmas that is Marxist and is anti-police? Now, isn't that wonderful leadership when you have the First Lady, who is dealing with basically communists that are anti-law and order, anti-police, and probably at a time in this country when there is more hatred than ever. And of course, most of this hatred has been created by the racist president that we have. And you can argue with that all you want, but you can go back and look in history and look at every bill that had race involved with it. And President Joe Biden voted against equal rights, voted against the Jews, voted against the blacks, voted against everything that was right in what we should be in this country. And now the First Lady is hiring an anti-police, Marxist, communist group for the dance. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but hey, you want to support her? God bless. I can't tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you what to think. But certainly, if you want this country to survive and you want this country to be free, then you better think about it the next time you go to the voting booth. And of course, we have our football selections for today or for tonight. And of course, we do like the Buffalo Bills to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And we like the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And of course, until tomorrow and until next Sunday, have a great one, everybody. Be careful, be good. And if I don't see you again before the year's over, enjoy the holidays. Thanks. We'll see you later.